I think we should always be very, very intoxicated to take the maximum benefit when we are here. Keep on filling our apron, and particularly this month, to be here in Baba's home, to do the homework Baba has given is a great privilege. Whether you were in front of Baba or you were listening to Baba's Murli on the internet, when Baba spoke the Murli on the 25th, I'm sure you are aware, very much aware, of what task Baba has given to all of us. Of course, on the 31st of December, Baba had given us the homework for 3 months. You remember? How many of you are doing that homework? 3 months homework. Very few hands. And now Baba reminded us, out of the 3 months, 2 months is already over. Only 1 month left. And in that 1 month, we have already finished few days. As I was reminding this morning, we have 22 days to go. Baba would like to see us doing the homework. That means it's a way of giving the return to what Baba has given us. And particularly for this month, Baba had given us 3 main aspects to work on as a form of homework. And one particular lesson that Baba taught us was about becoming free from anger. The second thing was having total purity. And the third aspect was cutting the cake of waste. And of course, this is something Baba has been telling us even from the beginning of this year. The particular thing that Baba has underlined us is to lead a life free from anger. After coming to Baba's knowledge, being a Brahmin, we all have taken oath, or we have made a promise that we are going to lead a life of purity, which means total vicelessness. So, which means that we should be free from all the vices. Because sometimes Brahmins think that purity means to lead a celibate life. That's purity. But actually it is one aspect of purity. I need to become free from all the vices with its progeny. Name and trace of any vice should not exist. It's only then I get the title completely viceless. And the 3 main vices that becomes a big obstacle in bringing that total vicelessness is lust, greed, and anger. And Baba had asked us to go on a fast from anger and become free from its progeny. Because yogi and anger don't go together. Of course, some of us may have conquered anger on a very gross level, but still one form or the other remains. So I thought this morning, first of all, we will understand what is anger. And we understand step by step what are the reasons for getting angry, what kind of loss I can bring to myself when I have anger, how to understand anger, and looking into the long list of the progeny of anger and find out its antidotes, so that after today we are able to totally remove the name and trace of it from our Brahmin life. So first of all, let us understand, how do we define anger? Anger can be defined as a negative emotional reaction which disturbs our peace, make peace into pieces, and it becomes a harmful consequence for the self and for others. So sometimes Baba calls anger as enemy. Anger is fire. Anger is an evil spirit. I have to give that strong words to remove it. Nobody wants to be possessed by an evil spirit. So anger is an evil spirit. I must chase it away. Anger is violence. It's a defensive weapon that we use to protect our ego. Anger also can be defined as a fear-based reaction that disturbs our peace of mind. So we can look at anger from these kinds of definition, so we know that it is not something belongs to me, it's alien. Now, the second aspect I need to understand in order to overcome anger is the loss that I bring to myself when I am under the influence of this enemy. I lose my peace of mind. I cause sorrow to myself and others. I experience guilt. When I get angry, afterwards there is the feeling of guilt. Relationship is spoiled. And physiologically, I cause damage to my nervous system. And anger is abusive. When someone gets angry, one wastes one's own physical and mental energy. Anger also makes me lose my power of judgment. I lose my power of discerning when I'm in that state of anger. And I will not have the ability to consider the needs of others. It's a form of selfishness. And it definitely affects the collective consciousness in our society and many more laws. Because when I want to get rid of something, I need to keep in front of me the loss that I bring to myself. So I don't want to go on the loss side. So I'm able to work on it so that I'm able to get rid of it. Now, looking into what are some of the reasons, why do we get angry? I'm sure you all have your own reasons, but one of the reasons for getting angry is ego. And what is ego? Ego is only a wrong belief that I have developed towards myself, which is body consciousness. The second reason for getting angry is past painful experiences in the form of memories. So subconsciously, I react when certain things happens because I hold on to that past memories or some current situations that may not be very pleasing to the self. So I react and anger triggers off in the form of negative reactions. The third reason could be unfulfilled desires or expectations that provokes anger. Wanting to control others. Some people are bossy. They like to boss people. They try to control others, and when someone does not obey, so they get angry. Also, low self-esteem, clashing of values. Sometimes when I don't have purpose, lack of purpose in life, no direction, so I do not know how to channelize my energy, so I use it in a destructive way. Lack of self-respect, false identity. Many times we identify ourselves with the object we own. Suppose if you are driving a Mercedes car, instead of thinking this is my car, you begin to identify yourself as a car. And so if someone does something to your car, a scratch, it is as if a scratch has happened on your heart. So you get so angry because you think you identify yourself with that object. So it is the false identity attachment that provokes anger. It could also be resistance to change, because change is the law of nature. When I am not prepared, so I resist. I do not have the nature of flexibility, so I express it in the form of anger, resistance to change. Or limited vision. When I do not have an unlimited vision, my family, my center, my specialty, so I got the kind of limitation. So when that limitation is not met with, then that negative reaction comes. And another reason could also be fear. We already mentioned in the beginning when we were talking about definition, fear. Attachment leads to fear. Fear leads to anger. And so we begin to show that fear in different ways. And so it is important to know and understand anger properly. As I said, anger has a big family. It does not come by itself. It has subtle forms. So I'm going to share with you the subtle forms, the progeny of anger. It becomes easy for us to check ourselves, which is that subtle form still remains with me, and what antidote I can use so that whilst I am in Madhuban, I can use the right antidote and then get rid of that form of anger. So, ego is the first father of anger, and jealousy, the mother. Anger is big fire, but jealousy is equally small fire. That is why when someone is jealous, they burn themselves. They cannot tolerate others progressing. They cannot tolerate others being praised in front of them. Envy, resentment, hate, animosity, opposition, forceful, bossy, dislikingness. No, sometimes we may not have likingness to people, but we dislike. So that is also a subtle form of anger. Fury, furious, revenge, stubbornness is also a very subtle form of anger. Irritation, getting upset, grumbling. Many of us sometimes don't think it could be anger, but it is. When we are left alone to do too many things, we don't talk, but inside we are grumbling. Am I the only one who has to do everything? Nobody else is there to help me. Like inside you have that subtle anger, grumbling, off mood, displeased, resistance. So we are not prepared to flow. Avoidance. You try to avoid. Actually, you are not happy. Cynicism is also a form of anger. Blame, criticism, sadness, depression, sulky. Many times Baba talks about children sulking, that they say, okay, I'm not going to come to class. But who are you sulking with? You're sulking from your own fortune, because Baba is not going to stop to come to teach. But if I sulk, I show anger with myself. Indifferences, in other words, conflict. So all these are forms of anger. So keep a list in front of you and check. Even though I don't have anger in the form of fighting, in the form of using wrong words, abusive words, but I still have subtle form in my mind that comes out in different ways. And so when Baba says you must become totally free, which means the name and trace of it should not remain. So that means I am able to then help others to experience that liberation. And so when we experience any of these forms, whether gross form or subtle form, don't try to control them. There are, according to my understanding, there are 4 ways that we can use to deal with anger. One of the main ways is to react aggressively. That means reacting aggressively is not the right way. In psychology, they teach us that when you get angry, you must not suppress. You must, bring it out, take it out. But actually, that is not the best way to overcome anger. That's one way. The second thing is suppressing. That is also not the right way. Because when you keep on suppressing anger, it will come out either in the form of dreams, because it goes into your subconscious mind, and it has to find an outlet. So that is also not the right way to overcome anger. But the third method can work for many of us. Express it in an assertive way. That is why we must learn the art of being assertive but not aggressive. This is an art that we need to learn to overcome anger. Because assertiveness is not anger, but it is an expression at the right time, in the right way, with the right mood, with the right words. And so this can be one of the healthiest way, but the best way to overcome anger is to calm it. That means we must control our outward behavior and internal responses. So this is why I was mentioning earlier that don't try to control anger, but understand the root for that particular form of anger. Find out the seed. What makes you, what provokes you to get into that kind of feeling or reaction? Because by changing my way of thinking, by changing my perception, I am able to help myself to a great extent. So this is why, in order to transform, as we heard this morning, we need to have courage, determination, and faith. It's only then we are able to take help from Baba and overcome that vice anger in that way. Actually, there are many solutions that we can think of, number of ways that we can use to overcome anger in general. One of the way is to go into silence, remember who you really are. Remind yourself of your own true self. Who am I? All the time, I need to keep asking this question to myself. The second method could be observe, reflect, learn, and change. And thirdly, reflect before you act. Respond rather than react. Because responding is using your intellect to understand whether it is right or wrong. So automatically I am able to sift my thoughts. I am able to understand the right thoughts and let go of the wrong ones. Reaction is more emotional. And that is why those who get angry, they feel guilt after they have acted in that way. The guilt is because the conscience is awakened after they have acted with anger. And this is why it is always important to respond before I react, or reflect before you act. Thirdly, take responsibility for your own thoughts, for your own words, and for your own actions. Because I am the one who is thinking, I have a choice to think. I am responsible. So when I take the responsibility, I am able to control those thoughts to a great extent. Recognize that you have a choice to deal with the situation. The situation cannot influence you. Once you are able to understand that you have a choice to deal with the situation. Very important thing to remember is no one can make me angry. You choose to be angry. That's where you get. Is that right? If I don't want to get angry, no one can make me angry. We often complain this, because so-and-so acted in this way, because so-and-so said like this to me, so I was angry. But then that soul who was trying to influence you was trying to disempower you. But if you are a master, you will not disempower yourself. You will not get angry. Then you disempower the person who is trying to make you get angry, because you are empowering yourself. So do not give away your power. Because if someone makes you angry and you get angry, that means you are giving away your power. So don't give away your power. Remember, no one can make you angry It is you who choose to become angry. So then, of course, I would not allow that to happen. The other yukti is disidentify from the situation. Whatever situation that is causing you get angry, disidentify from that situation. That means I am not anger. Many times we identify with the situation, and that is why we become a victim. And a very interesting exercise that you can practice is stand back, observe, and steer your thoughts in a positive direction. Whenever there is a situation, you stand back, observe, and steer your thoughts. That means direct your thoughts in a positive direction. And the yukti that Baba has taught us is to put a full stop to the past. Because one of the reasons I was mentioning earlier that makes us get angry is the past memories. So if I have learned the art of putting a full stop to the past and full stop to the damaging thoughts, I will not allow that negative reactions to come from within. And teach yourself to use positive affirmative thoughts. Repeat them in your mind several times. I am peace. I am a peaceful soul. My religion is peace. Make it firm, because this practice is lacking in many of us. And that is why, even though intellectually we know we are peaceful beings, but we still allow ourselves to become peaceless. Because this positive affirmation is very, very powerful. Don't exaggerate. Sometimes we provoke anger in others, or we get provoked when we hear such words. So don't exaggerate. Instead, saying it's awful or frustrating, you can use a mild words like it's okay. There is benefit in everything. Because the words that is being used exaggerating, it provokes anger. But the moment we begin to use words like it's okay, there is benefit in everything, automatically you calm down, you cool down. And of course, Baba has taught us this method. Whatever has happened up until now is good. Whatever is happening now is very good. Whatever will happen will be the best. So when I have that kind of understanding, I will not exaggerate. And be careful of using words like always, never. These words are non-negotiable. And these words actually humiliate others. You always do this. You always tell lie. You never do that. Like words like a kind of that humiliate others actually provokes anger. Translate expectations into desires. That is, say I would like rather than I want. Even that is also royal. Sometimes Baba says some people may not have greed, but they say I like it. So that likingness should also sometimes provoke my desires. So I need to make sure that I experience that feeling of fulfillment. Because if there is any form of desire, will lead to discontentment, and that discontentment will definitely bring out anger in one way or the other. Let go of the past and forgive. Because resentment is one form of anger. And so if I hold on to some people's mistake, some people's injustices or whatever is being done to me, that resentment stays in the form of anger and revenge. So I need to learn to forgive and let go. Accept others as they are and stop trying to control them. That will change my bossiness into mercy, bossiness into love. Accept the situation that you cannot change. Sometimes we become stubborn, but there are certain things you cannot change. You have to just accept. Don't take things personally. We get angry because something is said, but we take it personally for ourselves. And so our self-respect is affected. And so instead of having humility, we show that negative reaction. Be loving and a detached observer. And one of the easy methods to overcome anger is learn to say no. You need to have courage to say no. But we keep on taking. And so when we cannot take any more, then we burst out. Of course, power of tolerance is the best method to overcome anger. But then some people practice tolerance as nature, not as power. Even yesterday, somebody was asking me, how many times should I tolerate a person? Finally, I cannot tolerate. So suppose if I have that kind of question in my mind, I tolerated 10 times and now I cannot. So that means I don't have the power of tolerance. I only have the nature of tolerance. So nature of tolerance is limited. But what Baba wants us to use is power of tolerance. So tolerance power means being positive with a person who is negative. That means when I am soul conscious, I am naturally positive. So I am not counting how many times I am soul conscious. And after all, the power to tolerate, not to react, is a power I take from Baba directly. Power is an inheritance from God. So it has no limitation. So when a person is angry, if you tolerate, you are doing two good acts. One is you are forgiving the person by not getting angry. And the second thing is you are donating them the power of tolerance. So that means you are obeying Baba, so that obedience automatically brings blessings. I am not doing any favor. Baba told me that when somebody gets angry, you should tolerate. So tolerate is not suppression, but I understand that that person is angry because of some reason of his own or her own. It is not my reason. Or sometimes some Baba's children say, I believe in honesty, And so when someone comes and tell lies, otherwise I don't get angry. I'm not an angry person. But because somebody came and told a lie, I got angry. Is that right? No. Bap Dada said once, so the person who told the lie, he was wrong. She was wrong, definitely. But are you right to get angry? So I am also wrong, isn't it? So how can a wrong person correct a wrong person? I have to be right to make the wrong right, isn't it? So that means why did I get angry is because I was ego. There was ego of my honesty. So I thought that I was better than that person. So that ego made me get angry in that situation. So this is why it is important for me to check myself, that what is the cause of anger. So then only I am able to find the right solution. So I need to have pure vision towards others. If my vision is not pure and clean, I cannot come out of that negativity. And of course, we have to use the powers that Baba has given us, from time to time. Sometimes we have to use the power to accommodate. Sometimes we have to use the power to adjust. Sometimes we have to use the power to tolerate. So I need to understand which power I need to use at the right time and try to see things. Sometimes it is also helpful if I am able to try to see things from other person's point of view. Because I may be having my own point of view. But when I see the same thing from other person's point of view, my anger will cool down. Increase your self-esteem, because one of the reasons for anger is lack of self-esteem, and that is why we burst out. See the situations as an opportunity to learn and to grow. Let anger be your teacher sometimes. When you get angry, take it as your teacher and ask yourself questions. Find out what you need to change. So that will also, sometimes becomes a solution. Communicate and talk things through before you get out of hand. Put an end to the consciousness of I and mine. Be honest to yourself and know your limits. Sometimes we are very ambitious. We do not know our limitations. We have limited energy in the body. We have limited number of hours. But we go and commit ourselves to more than we can afford. And when we cannot reach out to our commitments, the next thing is to burst out in anger. And so I need to be honest with myself and know my limits. That is why I must learn to say no when I cannot. So it is not dishonesty. Actually, it is being honest to myself. Postpone anger. Easy method. Anybody can do. Postpone anger. You say, not today, tomorrow. So, of course, tomorrow will not come and you will never get angry. See yourself as a world transformer. When I know that I am the world transformer, I am here to transform the world, so I will not get influenced by others. Speak sweetly, softly, and speak less. It is always said that when you speak less, you are heard more. Develop an unconditional love towards others. One of the reasons we get angry is the feeling of hate, dislikingness. It is lack of love. Our love is conditioned. So if I develop unconditional love, that would also help me to great extent. And I think one of the reasons also for getting angry is the food, the type of food we eat, the type of company we keep. That is why we are always advised to eat sato pradhan food. Even amongst Brahmins, we still take tamo and rajo food. Like too much chili, too much spices, too much oily. Actually, this provokes our hormones, stimulates our hormones. And so that also could become a trigger for our anger. So I should keep attention about the quality, the type of food I eat, and the company, the type of people I communicate with. And also, company means the type of books I read. Even nowadays you may not go to the theater to watch the movies, but you can watch everything on the internet. So I need to be very careful about what I see, what I read, because it could provoke that negative subconsciousness which is still within me. So if I can keep consciously attention, that would help me to a great extent. And some of us sometimes don't take care of our physical health. Some of us don't even know how to breathe properly. Sometimes we hold our breath. We are not having that healthy lifestyle. So learn to breathe properly and have enough sleep. I have seen many Brahmins who don't have enough sleep that will come out in the form of anger in one form or the other in relationship. Because we must have enough sleep, because when the body does not have that relaxation, then whatever happens to the body will affect our mind. And try to deal with things one thing at a time. Sometimes we have too many problems and we try to deal with all the problems on our own at the same time, so we get into stress. And so when there is that tension, stress, that leads to an expression of anger. And so this is why I have to plan, organize myself. I must look into my physical energy, I must look into my mental energy, I must look into my commitment, and then I must plan my day so that I am able to balance my energy. Because some of us, maybe there is not any major reason, but because the energy is not balanced. So sometimes what happens to my mind affects my body, and sometimes what happens to my body affects my mind. And then that affects my relationship in turn. And so this is why it is always said that anger begins with folly, but ends in repentance. You may not intentively getting angry, but it comes out of folly, but it will end up in repentance. So if I keep on repenting again and again, the result is my intellect will be damaged. So I will not be able to have the right power of discrimination. So this is why what Baba wants us to practice is to give enough time to look at ourselves. Dadi Gulzar always gives us the simple method. In order to become free from tension, add one letter to the word tension, attention. So when I have attention towards myself, I can understand the subconsciousness becoming conscious. And so when my intellect is alert, to have attention on myself means to keep my intellect alert. So when the intellect is alert, I am able to use the right power of discrimination, and I am able to have a dialogue between my mind and my intellect, and convince my mind, and then act accordingly. Because if I want to act peacefully, act in calm state of mind, my mind and intellect should be in harmony. And I can bring them into harmony through dialogue, not through suppression. You can only see the result for a short while when you do it with suppression. But when the thought comes in the mind, of course it is in the subconscious mind. From time to time we are placed in a situation, we are placed in an atmosphere, so that will trigger off. It will come out. But my intellect should be alert. So I am able to discern that this is the subconscious mind coming in the form of conscious mind, but I don't need to put it into action. So I talk to my mind, look, last time I used this thought into my action and I did not have the good result. And I know this is not right. This is my old trace. I am dead from my old life now. So look, I am going to use this new understanding. So convince your mind and take the cooperation of your mind and then act on the basis of that. And that is called using wisdom. I use my wisdom so that I am able to erase that trace of anger slowly. If I keep on practicing this kind of exercise within myself, so that subconscious trace becomes very light, and finally it gets erased. And then no more of that subconscious thoughts will come into my conscious mind. So this is why we were discussing that we should not suppress, instead dialogue. Dialoguing is the healthiest method that would help me to overcome anger for all time. Otherwise, I remember one brother was sharing, he's in knowledge for 25 years, and he thought that he had overcome anger. He don't have any more anger. Just imagine, after 25 years, all of a sudden one situation came. The anger came out like a volcano. And he was surprised that where was this? I thought it had gone. But it was inside, but it was in a suppressed form, So it came out. So it was not transformed. So many of us don't deal with our subconscious mind. We only suppress it. And that is why it appears all of a sudden, anytime. So the method of dealing is to accept, I have it. Don't feel shy, don't feel shame. It's okay, we all have it. But now create a disinterest in your mind. Now I don't want to have it. I have it, yes, I accept it, I acknowledge it. Now I want to remove it. And so I do that in a gentle way by convincing the mind through dialogue. Then I am able to see the transformation that is happening. It is going to be for all time. So this is why it is something that I need to pay attention to myself. If somebody else will come and tell me, you have a bossy nature, or you have a nature of disliking for other people, we never like to admit it, isn't it? We don't like that comment. But then when I look into the mirror of knowledge and I see myself, then I can accept it. And then I am able to let go. So what I'm going to share with you now is some antidotes. What we have already gone through the list of the progeny. So I can sit in solitude and look into myself, which progeny of anger I still carry on. Because today you may have a progeny and tomorrow it can become a family. It's family is created from the progeny, isn't it? So it is like a little trace, and tomorrow it can become a big tree. And so if I'm using the right antidote, I am able to remove it from the root itself. So until I remove it from the root, and to remove it from the root, I need to create this disinterest for it. And in order to create disinterest for it, I need to use my own experience. Or I can use the experience of other people. What did I get when I had used it in my action in the past? So I don't want it anymore. So when I realize and I remove it, it will be for all time. So you can try with some of these antidotes, how it helps you to remove the progeny of anger. For example, The antidote that we can use to overcome ego is self-respect and humility. So just work on increasing your self-respect. Humility will automatically follow. Where there is self-respect, there cannot be any more ego. Ego is only the defensive mechanism to hide the lack of self-respect. Now, anger itself, what is the antidote is peace. So every time I want to overcome this enemy, I make peace my friend. Envy, the subtle form, the antidote to overcome envy is to become your own friend. When I am friend to myself, God becomes my friend. When God is my friend, then I feel friendship with the whole humanity. It's because I am my own enemy, I envy others. Jealousy. The antidote for jealousy is contentment. If I want to overcome jealousy, I should not compare. I compare only when I am not content. Otherwise, there is no comparison. Resentment, another subtle form of anger. The antidote could be forgiveness. Wherever there is the feeling of resentment, learn to forgive and forget. As long as I hold on to that, my heart will hurt. It will not heal my heart or heal the heart of others. The healing is only through forgiveness. Hate. Hate is another form of anger. The antidote is love. Because love and hate are opposite poles. Animosity. The antidote is appreciation. Where there is animosity, to remove that, let me learn to appreciate. Opposition, cooperation. So where there is opposition, you don't want to cooperate, but when I begin to cooperate, I will remove that feeling of opposition. Forceful. Some people have a very strong personality, such a forceful personality that they can influence others, but in a wrong way. The antidote is acceptance. Dislike. Of course, when we become Brahmins, this word like and dislike should not be in our dictionary. Because we love one and we love all. But if at all I have that feeling of dislikingness, I am only seeing the person defect. So the antidote is to see the person as a whole. When you look at the person as a whole, together with the defect, you also see the good qualities. So then that feeling of dislikingness will automatically erase. Fury, furious. For that, the antidote is patience. When I am patient, I will not be furious. Revenge. Because it's so subtle, sometimes such a revengeful feeling, tit for tat, tooth to tooth. What other person thinks, I am no less. No. The antidote is let go. Let go. Impulsive is another form of anger. The antidote could be self-control. Sulking. Sulking is childishness. When someone's expectations are not fulfilled, they are self-centric, selfish, they become sulky. So the antidote could be maturity. Because in Brahmin life, I have to pass through different stages. So sulking is childish nature, but maturity is the progress of Brahmin life. Irritation. what antidote you can use to erase irritation? Flexibility. Upset. Getting upset. So the antidote is stability. When you are set, you are not upset. You get upset only when you are up from your seat. That means when you are not stable. So if you have stability, if you are set, you can never get upset. Grumbling. Anybody has this progeny of anger? Grumbling. Sometimes we are washing dishes, we are sweeping. Inside we are murmuring something. We are not aware, others don't even understand what we are saying. We are also don't understand. But somehow we are not happy, So it's an expression of a very subtle anger. But in that, I have to use the antidote of seeing my fortune in doing everything. Once one of the senior sisters was saying, after all, I am doing everything anyway. In God's home, so it is my fortune. But because I am grumbling, I am not creating fortune, even though I am doing it. So if I am doing it, why not do it with an awareness of I am creating a fortune? Because when you do something considering it as a favor, you grumble. But if it is a fortune, you will not. So if I have this subtle form of anger, of grumbling, it is also a form of the thought that I'm doing a favor for someone. So you can't do favor for someone all the time. But if I have the awareness of creating my fortune, I will not have that subtle form of anger. I will be always happy. And the antidote for off mood, I know, Brahma Baba used to say that someone who changes their mood very often, they used to get the title Moodmati. That means they don't have any sense, senseless in a way. So then we won't allow other people to trust us because there is not that kind of stability. So the antidote that I need to use in order to come out of that off mood, because when someone has the nature of off mood, people have to think twice before you tell them anything, isn't it? Whether that person is in a good mood today or not. Whether should I tell that or not. That means I am not allowing that free conversation in our relationship. So the antidote is positive awareness. I go into that off mood stage because of my negativity. So I need to develop more optimism. Because someone who is pessimist is always off mood very quickly. They always look at things in the wrong way. And so they take things personally and they get into off mood very easily. But if I am an optimist, if I have positive awareness, I am able to see the light. I am able to see the bright side of everything. And the antidote for being displeased. There are some souls, no matter what, they are always displeased and cause displeasure to others. Because when someone is displeased, the next thing is they cause displeasure. Baba used Hindi word, very nice rhyming word. Displeased Hindi word is naraz. And the antidote is razi, be pleased. So why am I not pleased is because I do not understand the ras, na-ras. Ras means significance. So when I do not understand the significance of things happening, when I do not understand the meaning of the word that is spoken, so I get naraz. I do not know the significance. I don't understand the significance. So the antidote is to To be pleased is to understand the significance of everything. So don't listen to sas. Sas means sound. Because when you listen to the sound, words spoken by others, you may react. You may get displeased. Why did this person say like this to me? But see the significance behind those words. Sas, don't just look at the sound, but look at the ras behind the sas. Then you will never get naraz, never get displeased. And of course, the antidote for bossiness, robe, the word that is used in Hindi is robe. So I need to bring in actually spirituality in the form of mercy in my life. Because where there is spirituality, there cannot be bossiness. Spirituality actually brings out the master quality of mercy. And so that mercy will allow me to become humble. So in that way, I can overcome that kind of bossiness. Actually, bossiness is also out of fear of losing one's own position, one's own name, the fear of losing. But when I practice spirituality as way of my life, I do not have any fear. So I think, while we are doing this homework, so it is important that we don't just identify the subtle forms of anger we may have within ourselves, but also use the right antidote to remove it in a gentle way. So when I do it myself, it is more painless. When I allow others to work on me, it can be a little bit painful. When you have a thorn, when you remove the thorn yourself, it is not so painful. But when you allow other people to do it, it is more painful. So this is why I need to spend some time looking into this mirror. And then I use the right type of antidote, ointment, to overcome it. So that next time when Baba comes, Holi, as Baba said, Holi is a festival where they burn and then they celebrate. But if I have finished burning, cremating, name and trace of anger before Holi, I have become holy. Holi is the name of the festival. Holy is the name of pure soul. So if I have already done holy, I can celebrate holy as a holy soul in the company of the highest on high, Holy Father. So this is where, I was thinking what we need to do is put one letter before the word anger so that we are always cautious, move away from it. Which letter do you like to put in front of the word anger that would make you repel the moment you see that word? D, right. So if you put the letter D in front of the anger, what happens? Danger. So wherever you see the word danger, what do? You move away from there. You don't put your foot inside there. You don't go and touch it. Because wherever people don't want you to touch, wherever people don't want you to come, they put the word danger. So I put on the forehead, on my heart, on my forehead, danger. Anger is danger. So I will not put my foot there. I will not allow my intellect to go there. The other thing is, we want to become angel, right? So angel means A-N-G-L-E. But anger, it's only a matter of 2 letters. So I just need to change anger into peace to become an angel. So otherwise, how can I become an angel having anger in my life? And so this is why we need to check ourselves, even our feeling. Dadi Janki was talking the other day about 4 phases of anger. Sato Pradhan anger, Sato anger, Rajo anger, and Tamo anger. So many Brahmins, up until now, we have Rajo anger because we use the words sometimes which are not in the dictionary of Brahmins. We use words out of laughter at the cost of other people's life. That is why the slogan that Baba gave us is not to give sorrow, but not to take sorrow. I can keep attention not to get angry, but if somebody gets angry with me, I don't need to take sorrow. But if I feel sad because somebody got angry for no reason, so that is also my problem, isn't it? Why did I take the sorrow? Why did I feel sad? The reason is I had expectation. Because of my own expectation, I took sorrow. Because, like if somebody gives you something and if you don't take it, it is left with that person, isn't it? So it is my sensitivity. So I remember Dadi was saying, we should have a heart not like wax that melts so easily. We should not have a heart like stone. Not like speaking like stone. Firm but gentle. That's what Moini Ben was saying in the class the other day. If you want not to take sorrow and not to give sorrow, you should be firm but also gentle. So when there is gentleness in firmness, you will not melt like wax. You will not have a hard heart like stone. But your heart will be gold heart. So this is the trademark, I think, of a soul who never gives sorrow, who never takes sorrow, because they have a gold heart. No, a heart which is like gold is flexible. It has the power to mold. And that is why it is able to adjust, accommodate, and forget. Somebody said the other day, very nice point. When you hear something, say, which is not useful to you, just like the ocean, when you throw something heavy into the ocean, it sinks into the ocean. It disappears. When something light is thrown into the ocean, it brings back into the shore. So that means when somebody tells me something which is not relevant to me, heavy, you allow that to just disappear, merge and disappear. Merge means disappear. That means I need to have a heart like an ocean, reservoir. So I accommodate. Accommodate means merge, finish. I don't even remember. If something light, you throw out. Don't take it inside. So I don't lose my identity. We lose our identity now because somebody said something. So we begin to become like them. So this is what Dadi was telling in one of our class. Why should I behave according to the nature of the person who is interacting with me? They are under the influence of their sanskara. They are under the influence of their habit. So why should I change my habit and adjust and behave accordingly? So I should hold on to my good habit. I should hold on to my original habit. So that will inspire them to bring change in themselves. Not because I am accommodating, I compromise my nature, the soul's original nature, and I act according to that. So Tamo-pradhan anger is visible. That we don't do it in Brahmin family anyway. We have a respect for the family. Sometimes there is Rajo-pradhan anger which comes in the form of words. Words which are not in the dictionary of Brahmins. But sato anger is very subtle. Sometimes it is shown on the expression on the face or through eyes. But very royal form of anger comes in the form of thought, ill feelings, bad feelings. Like Dadi Gulzar was telling the other day, somebody said something to me, I got bad feelings and I took sorrow. The person who said it, they went and had a good sleep. They did not feel anything, but I am the one who is suffering. So why should I create that feeling? The feeling is connected with the thought. So this I really liked it very much. If I don't want to take sorrow, nobody can give me. It is I who take it. That is why others give. If I don't allow other person to give me sorrow, nobody can. Of course, there will be challenges to test your self-respect. All the situation that comes is challenging my self-respect only. So I just need to stay stable in my self-respect so that the situation can pass, but I will not shake. So this is why, for the next few days, today is already, what date? 6th. Baba is coming on the 14th. And I'm sure Baba will refer to the homework in one way or the other. So by the time, let us put ourselves in that kind of bhatti. Bhatti means that kind of intense effort, intense checking to see what subtle forms of progeny I still carry. And I realize it and transform it from my heart. And I burn it in that fire of yoga, fire of love for Baba, so that Baba can replace that by virtues. So finally, our complete and full stage is all virtuous and completely viceless. So I can become completely viceless only when I replace vices by virtue. So I just need to keep attention on myself. The more attention I keep on myself, the easier it is for me to transform. So maybe we can spend a little bit time if you have any questions regarding this homework of overcoming this enemy of anger. Anybody has any question regarding this special question homework that Baba has given? Any difficulty? You're most welcome. Just raise your hand and you can come forward and speak your question. Anyone? Please come to the mic.
Om Shanti. My question is, when you have somebody insults you or say bad words, and you must first accept that. I find difficult to create assertivity and not to go under and have a positive attitude and to keep self-respect and not to go in victim feeling. How do you do this practically?
I think one of the methods is, first of all, I don't react. I don't react because usually when people speak bad words or something not right, the first thing that happens is reaction. We become emotionally involved in that situation. So I don't say anything. I can at least keep my mind calm and not to react and try to understand, because sometimes everything that is told by others may not be wrong. So I need to ask myself, this criticism is this right or wrong? Allow your conscience to guide you. If your conscience says, no, you are not that wrong, maybe 1% you are not right, So that means I need to accept that criticism as positive. Thank that person. But if my conscience is clear and I feel that that is not right what has been said, then the second method you can use for yourself is to take it as a warning for the future. Maybe I would have done like this tomorrow. So he or she is my well-wisher. So he is warning me, don't do this in the future. So when I look at that person as my well-wisher, again I thank him. If that doesn't work, then the third thing is that take that as a positive note to check your power of tolerance. Because I was having ego, thinking I already have tolerance. But today I came to know that I have zero tolerance. So this person is my best friend, that he helped me to check my tolerance. So when I use these three methods, I already slow down. I calm down. And then I can understand the situation better. Do you understand? Anybody else? Any other question? Totally satisfied? Or many questions? Yes? Please come in the front. Those who have questions, two of you, come in the front. This is also good because sometimes the same question may be in our mind also, but we are not assertive to come forward to express in words. So it's good. Please come.
Om Shanti. I have seen sometimes that assertiveness itself turns into some form of revenge, and so it's very subtle. You think I'm being assertive, but instead you're actually taking revenge or something. And some sorts of assertiveness I've seen they practice. Actually, they want to hurt you with it, with their assertiveness. So
then that is not assertiveness. That is aggressive. Assertiveness does not hurt. Because to be assertive means to be a master of your sense organs. So that means you are totally in control of your sense organs. You would not say any word, you would not have any feelings in your mind that which is not right. So it doesn't hurt actually. But if it hurts, it is not assertiveness. If you're taking revenge in the name of assertiveness, that is not assertiveness. That is like showing my ego. So that is why it hurts me. It hurts others. So you need to understand clearly the difference between being assertive and being aggressive. Being aggressive is to be sensitive, slave to the sense organs. To be assertive is to be mastered.
To feel like you need to take your own right. Is that assertiveness? Or to feel that you have the right to this and that? Is that assertiveness? Or is
assertiveness means to say the right thing in the right mood, in the right attitude at the right time. Not just positive, because even if it is positive, if you say it at the wrong time, it doesn't work. Like when you sow the seed, you have to watch the season. You have to wash the land. And you have to sow the seed at that time. Otherwise, the same seed, even it is very good, it doesn't bear any fruit. Okay. Oh, slowly. It's all right.
My question is about empathy. Some empathy. Sometimes when you look or find a person for the first time, you feel very well with that person, and sometimes not. What's your method or some method to find everybody and feel very good with everybody, and all the times have very good empathy.
As you know, in psychology, they say that we see others, we see ourselves in others. Other people are like reflection of my own inner self. And so when I am not having that kind of self-respect towards myself, I am not able to identify my speciality. I am seeing my weaknesses. So that means when I see others, the same reflection goes. So when I see their speciality, I like them. I have empathy. But when I don't see, when I see the negativity, then I move away from them. It's only my reflection that I see in others. So this is why I need to acknowledge my defects, but also I need to identify my specialities, so that I'm able to use my specialities and I can improve on the other side. So then I will be humble.
Back to gross anger. I have a question regarding dealing with children. Does it work?
Yeah, working.
I'm not sure how to respond to a child who might be physically aggressive and keep on doing, because sometimes I try just to explain what's going on, but the child won't understand. So just a vibration, what can I do with that?
It's a very interesting question. Of course, there was a year when we had the anger-free year, and during that time, many mothers had asked this question, because Baba said that year, if anybody gets angry more than 3 times, they can't come to Madhuban. You remember that? And so the children used to take that advantage to make mothers get angry more than 3 times. And then they say, you can't go to Madhuban this year. So the mothers have to plead to Dadi what to do. If we don't become little bit anger in front of them, they will continue to do the same thing. The teachers in the classroom, they had problem with the students, no? So during that time, Baba said very nicely, Dadi also mentioned very nicely that, when children are aggressive or angry, they do not understand themselves anyway. They don't know what is happening to them. So you cannot teach them by speaking words, because it doesn't go into their head. It doesn't register. The only thing that you can do is through your vibrations. So you don't react when they are aggressive. You don't become impulsive. You look at them as a soul and remind yourself and that soul that I am a peaceful soul, you are a peaceful soul, and send out that peaceful vibrations without saying anything. And you will see sooner or later they calm down. And then when they calm down, when they are in a good state of mind, giving them lot of love, using sandwich method, you can change their anger. Sandwich method means you give them a lot of praise about the good qualities they have, the good things they have, express the genuine love that you have for them, and then just to give them with lot of good wishes, you can just change this little bit, it would be good. And then you back up with more praise for their good qualities, sandwich. So that they do not feel the hurt, Like sometimes we try to operate on people without chloroform. So they scream. So I need to have patience at that time to send out that peaceful vibrations, and it works. It works. But one thing is that, you should not beat the children. You should not beat the children and teach them. You should not make them get scared, because they will only become immune to that kind of interaction. They won't change. That Baba has forbidden for mothers and teachers. You should not beat the students. You should not beat your children. Don't hit them. But you can show stern eye, like acting in the drama. But internally you have not got angry. Internally you have not lost your peace. But externally you are just acting as if You don't want them to do it. So that will help them to some extent. If not, then through vibrations. Yes?
Om Shanti. You mentioned that sadness is a form of anger. Well, my husband left his body last year, July last year. And somehow I still feel sad. I just can't help myself. Although I cannot say that I am grieving. But that feeling of sadness comes to me once in a while.
It is due to, see, first is attachment. Yeah, first is the root cause of sadness is attachment. And that attachment is because I have resistance. I don't want to let go. And that fear is because of ego. Because I have identified him as my husband, really. Actually, he was only playing a part of a husband with you. So when I have developed the wrong belief towards myself and others, then I have created attachment, and that attachment created fear, and that fear brought the sadness. That is why we say ego is equal to fear. And that fear actually has brought you the sadness. It's a very subtle form. And so, like when someone is sad, like, they just want to move away from everything and they don't want to interact with anyone, it leads sometimes into depression. So that is also a form of stress. It's not like, getting high blood pressure is stress, but low blood pressure is also stress. So it is because of some unfulfilled desires. It's a very cold form, it's latent. It may not be seen. The anger behind sadness may not be seen, but like there is kind of resistance. Why this happened to me? Why God is doing like this? Like some kind of ignorance. So that is why, in order to come out of that, I need to develop that real understanding of who I am. So then I'm able to overcome ego and bring that self-respect into my life. One last question. Okay.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti, sister. Sorry I missed your lecture, but there is a question that I do have, and I'm sure you'll be very good at answering this. What is the difference between having self-respect and being proudful in front of others? Very proud, yes.
It's a fine line. It is a self-ego and self-respect. So when, there is 3 stages of body consciousness. One is called ego of body consciousness, and the second is pride of body consciousness, which we call arrogance, and then body consciousness itself. So the pride, the proudness that you are talking about is connected with physical. Like, I am beautiful, I am rich, I belong to a very rich family, I am intelligent, I am wealthy. So I am proud of that, But when we talk about self-respect, it is more internal. It's more connected with the soul. The proudness is more connected with the external. And it doesn't last long, So, of course, it does influence my intellect. It does influence my self-respect. But when I understood who I am really, when I have the true self-realization, I consider that as something false. So I move away from that false identification. I know that it is temporary. I'm not running after wealth, I'm not running after name, fame. No, this is proudness, But then, because I have my own self-identity, I know who I am, I know who I belong to, I stay in that, so I remain stable.
One more question about that. If I were to be with a soul and I can see that the soul doesn't act out of his or her own self-respect, but instead it comes out of ego, you're talking about assertiveness. Would it be good to just point that out, or just to let it go, or to assert oneself?
No, it means if I remain in my self-respect, I know when to be assertive. I will not be proud, but I am able to, assertive means just to be myself, no matter what is happening around. That is also assertiveness. I don't need to pretend to be somebody else. So if I am able to just be myself and play my role as I am, what I am, that is assertiveness too. But today people try to be somebody else, to pretend, to gain name and fame. That is proudness. Yeah. Thank you. And I'm sure, we have many classes, we will be listening to many sharings. You will get many answers for many of your questions. But let us keep on working the homework that Baba has given and take the opportunity to spend some time in solitude to remove that name and trace so that we go back totally flawless diamonds, polished, flawless diamonds that Baba can be revealed through our practical life. Om Shanti.